Media family. I'm your host, Justin Rowan. The Chase Down is presented by Fubo, the official streaming partner of the Cavs. Watch over 350 channels of live sports and TV, including FanDuel Sports Network without cable. There's no cost and no commitment. Try for free at FuboTV.com/Cavs. We are coming to you the morning after the Cavs fell into an 0-3 hole against the New York Knicks. As you know, no team has come back from an 0-3 deficit. Only 4 teams in NBA history have forced a Game 7 after going down 0-3. Things are not great when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but things are still pretty good for me because I'm joined by my co-host Carter Rodriguez. Carter, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Was out last night with the wifey. So had some sad beers, some happy beers, and here we are in the morning with kind of a sad podcast, man. 0-3 is a tough spot to be in. Transparently for us, because there's no, it's not time to eulogize. There's still more games to be played. This is not over. Even though the statistics suggest it's very, 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 very close. There's still basketball to be broken down. But yeah, it is a bit of a weird no man's land we find ourselves in. But what I will say is, like, all you got to do is just look at the next game in front of you. I think back to that series where the Miami Heat went up 3-0 on the Celtics pretty recently. And, the Celtics were in that series getting burned by a lot of self-inflicted wounds. And they just cleaned up the self-inflicted mistakes. And all of a sudden, the series got very, very competitive and they forced a Game 7. Would I put my money on that right this second?
No.
Probably not. But, we do have to continue to look at this as a active and alive series because in the most literal sense it is.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is, what's your lasting impression going to be, right? Like, I think back to when the Cavs lost to the Knicks a few years ago, people had a sour taste in their mouth given how that Game 5 went, right? Like, the Cavs did not give a season on the line type performance. It was very clear that they felt the series was over, down 3-1. And that really, frustrated people. I know we talked about it on the podcast. Last year, Darius and Donovan both looked like they were on one leg, and I thought that they went down swinging. I was proud of I still am proud of the effort the Cavs gave in that Game 5. I don't know if those guys had a Game 6 in them, like from a physical standpoint. And you can quibble about, hey, like, Mobley didn't get enough touches. Did Darius really need to be taking that many shots if he's clearly not himself? All that kind of stuff from a tactical standpoint. But from an effort standpoint, there were no questions there. And I think that is what I want to see most of all. And like you said, you just compartmentalize, right? You say, we're going to try to get the next one. What we're going to try to do is leave a lasting good impression of the effort and the way that this team is playing. And if that happens to extend the series to a point where now you can start putting pressure on the Knicks, fantastic. I would love that. I would love for basketball to not be over this season. But the reality is, the Cavs in Game 3, I thought for the most part they came out. I don't think you can question the effort of this team. The Knicks came out to a good start. It was a little scary. You start to wonder, are they going to pull away very early on in this game? Cavs battled back. They found ways to be competitive. But right now, like, you're down in an 0-3 hole, and the reason for it is the Knicks have been playing better basketball. They have been the better team on both ends of the floor. And when we talked about what our goals for the season was, making the conference finals was, the bar for a lot of people, but I think we were both on the same page that being competitive in every series was a major part of that equation, because if you do get swept, if you aren't able to win a game in this series, you kind of have to ask, would this conference finals appearance happen if you're on the other side of the bracket? Would all of a sudden you start questioning, okay, we did go 7 games and we're down 15 in the first round to a team missing 2 starters and Scotty Barnes was hurt, right? Like, you did get by an inexperienced Detroit team, right? People start picking away and chipping away at the accomplishments of this run. The most important thing, what we were looking to analyze from this playoff run is, are you a legitimate contender? That means that even if you lose a series, you were in that series. And right now, the Cavs have not been in this series, despite the ability to very clearly win Game 1 if they cleaned up just one of several things.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it does, and that is something like, there's a lot of, I'm seeing a decent amount of the well, man, if only they had if only they had locked in on game one, this whole series would be different. And I just don't know if I agree with that, because I do feel like the Knicks really did solve some stuff
Yeah.
over the course of that game one that like the Cavs just really haven't been able to figure out. I think a lot of this is just kind of what it is, like I just think they're getting outplayed in the series right now, like full
Hmm.
stop. And it doesn't feel good to talk about, but I just think it's the case. And, um, uh, and that is you know, there's, obviously shot quality has become a major, major, major talking point. Which I get. I get why.
Yeah. It's
And
something I do want to get to a little bit later for sure.
yeah, and it's no, it is objectively true that the Cavs are not shooting the ball very well.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that does kind of belie a wider point that I just think they're getting outplayed in a lot of phases of the game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You look at that third quarter, where the Cavs have about a turnover per minute to start. The 6 turnovers in 6 minutes to start the third, and it's just like passes with an insufficient amount of pace on them, too risky of passes, and then on the other end of the ball, it's just Mikal Bridges slipping into open space over and over and over again for like uncontested layups.
Yeah.
Burned Harden a couple times, burned Mitchell a couple times. It's floor balance. I mean, they had, I think, 3 or 4 completely uncontested runouts in this game off of Cavs misses, where all 5 guys were underneath their own free throw line, or the guy meant to pick up, or Strus is the farthest back guy, but he runs to contest the inbound to Brunson, which leads Anunoby able to run a straight line in and get fouled. It's, yes, the shot making matters, and we'd probably, all this other stuff would matter less if the shot making was going better. But like I do think like they're getting burned by the same stuff they were getting burned by in January and February of this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And it was funny to listen to Draymond in the pregame show talking about, well, the Cavs can't win this series because they're not the more physical team. They're getting killed on the offensive glass and all that kind of stuff. Like, going back to those same talking points, that hasn't been the case, right? Like the Cavs won the offensive rebound battle again tonight, 9-8. They won game 2. They won game 1 on that side of the floor, right? Like that was one of the major concerns in this series is who's going to get those second chance opportunities. And the Cavs have killed the Knicks for the series in that. And the funny thing is, this is once again the second time that this has happened, right? It was a major part of that Pacers story where the gap in the offensive rebounds in the Pacers series, the Cavs won the offensive rebound battle by a larger margin than they did then they lost the battle against the Knicks 4 years ago in the playoffs, right? They won the points in the paint battle by a larger margin than that series 4 years ago, right? But people are always going to circle back because that is just the way that you are going to summarize and reduce any Cavs playoff loss to. You're going to talk about that, right? Like people were highlighting the Mitchell Robinson mic'd up section where he's putting his hand on Jared Allen's chest, talking about how fast his heart is racing. Jared out rebounded. Like he got more offensive rebounds than the Knicks in that game. Like people are going to circle back to it, and it's frustrating, but the
I
victors
will
get to write the
say,
narrative.
I will say, I'm not seeing that narrative too much with regards to blame being placed at the foot of the bigs. I mean, I'm
It's
seeing
pretty heavily in my mention. So this might be me doing what I hate and
narrative
responding to the
fighting.
noise.
Yeah, but what I like, I feel like a lot of like from what I'm seeing, it's a lot of the bigs need to get more involved, but it's not the bigs are afraid of the moment or can't handle the Knicks' physicality. It just, but what I am seeing, and I do think this is correct, is that the Knicks are winning the 50-50 ball race.
Big time.
Like they're winning the deflections race. Like
17-4 fast break points, right? Like
yeah,
that is
the Cavs are just getting destroyed in transition this entire postseason. It's like they can't even consider getting a couple easy buckets. Every basket has to come in the half court for this team, and that's pretty common in the playoffs. But like normally, you don't see an Eastern Conference finalist this decimated in terms of the transition battle. So like,
and some of that is it's bad enough that they're missing the open shots that they're getting from the perimeter, but the amount of ball watching after the ball goes up, right? Like you're throwing up a bad shot, you're holding the follow through, and all of a sudden the Knicks are getting out in transition because you took a 3-pointer, it got a long rebound, but you're not getting back at all, right? Like that kind of stuff, those types of mental errors just can't happen,
and they've kind of happened repeatedly and at the worst possible times. It's like you miss the open three that you generated, and it's Sam Merrill in the short corner, but whoever passed it to him never rotated back out, and it's like it's this double backbreaker, 5-6 point swings when you're trying to fight your way back to a game against a team that is also playing so well. I mean, like that's the thing is like I just think the Cavs got away with stuff in the first 2 rounds that they're just not going to get away with against a Knicks team
and we
that's in the best form they've ever been in.
Yeah, we talked about it in real time, right? We said, would you be able to dig out of these holes if you were playing a more competent offensive team? And the answer has been no so far. And I think what's telling when you look at the gap in fast break points here is the points off of turnover was even, right? So the types of mistakes you're making aren't, hey, live ball turnover, it's going for 6 the other way, right? We saw that in the previous rounds when you were playing like these hellacious point of attack defenses that they're turning James over at half court and getting out and running. When you have this large of a gap in fast break points, but the points off a turnover battle is the same, that goes to show not getting back, right? The holding the follow through, those types of mistakes, just the little effort stuff. And it's great that from an effort standpoint, hey, we keyed in, we know that the Knicks are going to be going for offensive rebounds. We're taking them out of that aspect of the game, right? Like they averaged 13 per game and they have 13 in the last 2 games. Like that to me shows a level of focus, attention to detail, effort in that aspect of the game, but it's not carrying through to these other areas, right? And you're just letting these errors compound and bleed into opportunities for the Knicks.
Oh man, it's tough. It's been a really, really kind of miserable series from the fourth quarter of game 1 on, where just nothing seems to really be going their way. Like I just don't know what the Cavs can count on. Donovan hasn't been able to be very efficient. James had some really good stretches in this game, but the 3-pointer has abandoned both him and Donovan. 4 of 17 combined in this game. Not really getting to the line a ton, and I mean Donovan went 2 of 6 from the line. That's so unusual. For these guys. I will say
9 assists to 11 turnovers for the 2 guards.
Yep.
Mobley turned the ball over a ton. They were really sitting on that big to big passing, and he tried to force it in a few too many times. So
and that is like we talked about kind of chicken or the egg after game 2 of like, hey, are the bigs not able to get involved because they can't shoot? Are they just shrinking? I do feel like we saw that in this game where, especially in that third quarter, where they're like, until Sam Merrill stopped shooting 2 of 11 from 3 or whatever it was, over the course of the game, like we're just gonna, or over the course of he's 2 of 11 on open threes or something like that in this series. Until he starts killing us, we're just going to take away the easy stuff for you. And like I do think like that is a big difference in the series is like the Cavs, while I do have quibbles with their defensive process, well, more than quibbles in some cases. But like they go like they're basically when they try to take away the easy stuff, the Knicks are killing them with the hard stuff. Like Landry Shamet is a freaking flamethrower. Has he been the best role player in the series? The best bench player in the series?
Yeah.
Like he has far outperformed any Cavalier role player in this series. Josh Hart is killing them, both as a shooter and a playmaker. Everything is coming easy for this Knicks team. And like you could certainly point the finger at the Cavs for that, and you might want to. But like there is something to like. It's not just like I think sometimes we treat shot making like luck.
Hmm.
And I just think it's I think to some extent it's more about execution. Like they are just meeting the moment. They are hit like they are stronger in their mechanics. Their legs are under them. They're whatever you want to say. They, at just every phase of the game, the Knicks are just playing better, and that includes making shots.
Yeah, and I think when you have one aspect of your game abandon you, like shot making has for the Cavs, it just makes every other thing more difficult, right? Like you don't have your ducks in a row, you're out of sync, and that's why you need to rely on things like Zoom Workplace because teams move fastest when everyone's in sync. Zoom Workplace keeps meetings, chats, documents, and more together, so your workflow is like a perfect play. Keep work moving and zoom ahead with Zoom Workplace. I do think we need to talk about the shooting, right? Because
Yep, it's time.
that has been a major talking point. Shot quality has come up a ton, and I do think you're right that the Knicks are sitting on the bigs, trying to take away the paint because they don't have to respect the Cavs from the outside, right? The Cavs shot making hasn't been there. If you look at the series, the Cavs are 18 of 56 on completely uncontested threes. That is no Knicks defender within 6 feet of them. They are 10 of 47 on late contests. So no Knicks defender within 4 to 6 feet of them. That is 103 clean to relatively clean looks through 3 games. They have 23 contested shots in those games as well. So you're looking at 103 to 23.
Yeah, and even if you look at the
Cavs,
last game, the Cavs go 6 of 9 on good contests and 6 of 31 on either wide open or lightly contested threes.
so the Cavs are, if you take the combined sample of those two, which I do like to break out like those 6 foot shots because that's different, but they are 28 of 103. Like that is a great rate to get those shots. They are giving up far fewer. Like the Knicks are only getting 15.7 wide open threes a game and they're shooting them at 43%. The Cavs are getting 19 and they're shooting them at 32%, right? Like they are not converting those opportunities. And some of that is like if you look at the breakdown of who's getting them, Mobley has the most. He has 13. He's 4 of 13 on those shots. The Knicks are probably going to live with that, right? If you look at the Knicks side, the Knicks leader in those uncontested shots is very clearly Josh Hart because the Cavs are funneling it to him. But you look beyond that, Sam's 2 of 11. Don's shooting okay on those 4 of 10. Max is 3 of 5. Wade is 3 of 6. And Harden is 1 of 4. But the late contest, I think, is where it really falls apart, where it's, those 4 to 6 feet shots. Don is 3 of 13. James is 2 of 9. So again, between the uncontested and the contest or the late contest, Harden is 3 of 13. Max is 0 of 8 on those kind of late contests, and Sam is 2 of 7. So again, 4 of 18 overall on shots that you count on Sam Merrill to make. So I do think when the shot making abandons you to this extent, yeah, it becomes easy for the Knicks to sit on the bigs, right? It becomes easier for the Knicks to defend them, but you're generating these good looks, and I just don't know what you do with, once again, the Cavs can't shoot from the outside, right? Like,
And it's not, this isn't, the first Knicks series where you go, yeah, they can't shoot from the outside because there's a dearth of shooting talent on the floor. I mean, you're not gonna do a lot better than, Strus and Merrill and Harden and Donovan
yeah.
as your volume 3-point shooters. And even Jalen Tyson, who is a volume 3-point shooter for you in the regular season, was a top 5 3-point shooter. He can't make anything either. He's down to 26.5% from 3 in his limited postseason minutes. So like I just don't see where the flip is. I don't know if you can get better shooting talent on a team short of like completely abandoning all other styles of play. Like, and when they do that, like you just give up too much defensively, when they go to Strus at the 4, and again, no one's hitting anyway. So, man, it's a hard nut to crack. I don't know what to make of it. I do think a big part of it, I do just kind of have to look at the stars and say, like, hey, Like every time Brunson gets an open three, I'm sitting here in a cold sweat. And every time James or Don get an open three, I'm like, well, see if they can get it in, because that's what the numbers have told us in this series. Like I don't think a catch and shoot Donovan Mitchell three is scaring the Knicks right now. And if that's not happening, like I don't know what to do.
To that point, though, Brunson hasn't really been converting those like wide open threes. Like if you look at it, he's only got 2 wide open ones. He hasn't made either of those. He's only hit 2 kind of those late contest shots. What's killing them is someone like Landry Shamet going 6 for 6 on the looks that he has.
Yeah,
The Cavs aren't giving up a lot of uncontested shots. They've given up 43 in the 3 games, and 23 of them have gone to Josh Hart, right? So if you're doing your part and you're not giving up any open threes pretty much other than the ones you want to give up,
fair pushback.
It comes down. But again, like you're talking about the emotion of it, right? Like we talked about that with the Knicks series a few years ago where Jalen wasn't very efficient in that series, but because we couldn't score offensively, he was able to hit those daggers because he is someone that rises in the clutch. And the Cavs haven't had someone that steps up and rises in the clutch when it comes to the playoffs. We don't have one of those moments, really. Like we have runs, right? Like when we've closed out teams in these big elimination games, we've had runs, right? Like you're down against the Magic, you come back and you blow them out. You're down 15 against the Raptors in Game 7, you come back and you blow them out. You blow out the Pistons in the clutch. Like the only clutch playoff came down to the wire and the Cavs make a game-winning play that we have is Evan Mobley blocking Franz at the rim. Like we
happier times.
We don't have that on the offensive end of the floor. So when like we can quibble about the individual mistakes defensively and things that they can clean up, but the reality is shot making needs to be better. And when people are doing their off-season problem solving of transactions they want to make and things like that, I think you have to start at, does this help the Cavs shot making? And the answer,
or does it make them less dependent at the very least? Like,
right?
Because like that's one thing that I did see. We saw this in Game 1. The Knicks could not hit the broadside of a barn, and Brunson just went so bananas that it caused the Cavs defense to panic and break, and then then it was a parade of shots that just were more comfortable for like where the Cavs weren't even able to get like semi-contested closeouts on that. They could lace up the ball and get really, really comfortable. As we say a billion times, not all open shots are created equal. And like, you need to like, this is a talent sport more than anything else. We can talk about all the fundamentals and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, playing together, playing on a string, et cetera. Like sometimes you need someone to break the defense just being themselves without any help. Like that's something we had with LeBron, that we've had at points with Donovan, but it just hasn't really been the postseason for that. James, even when James has played well, there haven't been damn break. Oh my gosh, we have to. We're in our base and we just have to put 2 on the ball anyway. Like what the Knicks were doing voluntarily in Game 1 that let the Cavs offense be rolling the way it was. Is and once they decided not to do that, things got a lot harder. But like ideally you want to force teams into that, and like the Cavs guards have not been able to do so. Even with the shot making not being there at all for the Cavs, the Knicks still are comfortable single covering both guards and saying, hey, we'll stay in our shell, and we think at the end of the day, we're going to get, 42 points on, we think we're going to get like 42 points on a total of 36 shots for the backcourt. And we're comfy with that. We're cozy with that. So looks like we lost Justin for a moment here. I don't know if he's still in the chat. Justin, are you still here? Yep. It looks like we lost our boy. Internet kills us all. So yeah, I'll solo for a bit. Yeah, like I just think the Knicks have been able to reliably say, we don't think we need to send two to the ball against your best players. And at the end of the day, if you can't beat Jalen Brunson, if you can't beat Landry Shamet, like I had Knicks fans in my mentions being like, well, Shamet's been really, really good on the ball for us this year. But like, okay. So, like that's fine. But like if he's going to be that good, if he's going to be that devastating defensively, then this was always going to be a short series. Andrew Coachell in the chat, what are Justin's on and off splits on the pod? That's a great question. These are the questions that you want to be asking right now. Because at the end of the day, I feel like I'm getting two on the ball as a podcaster. So yeah, I just feel that in as much as we want to talk about the X's and O's, and like the series would be closer if the Cavs didn't make these mistakes, didn't have these swaths of terrible turnovers, if they didn't forget to involve the bigs from time to time. But like all of that is, your margin for error is just too thin. Like I feel like the Knicks can survive a bad quarter from time to time. In a way that the Cavs can't, because if the Cavs have a bad 3 or 4 possession stretch, they're down 11. If the Knicks have a bad 3 or 4 possession stretch, they're still up 7, because the Cavs aren't consistently able to torch the defense. So, I don't know, man. This is tough. As much as the shot making stuff does matter, but like, it just feels like they need to get the Knicks panicking in a way they just haven't been able to do. Justin, do I have you back now? I'm not sure if I do.
I think you got me back from an audio standpoint.
Oh, I got you back on audio. Get called in. Take your time, brother. We'll just have me be on camera while you talk, if you want. But one thing I'm really looking at as we kind of look to close out this podcast. Someone said that he needed a minute to finish crying.
I really did. I needed some off-camera time. My
it's an emotional time of year, Justin. It's we're on the brink of elimination. It doesn't feel good. I am really interested in figuring out kind of what they choose to prioritize as we get to Game 5. Because like it is one of those spots where like we know that the series is not looking great. But at the end of the day, hi Justin, you're back. It's not going particularly well, and we see that, but like there is still stuff to learn, and I'm curious, just what do you want them to do? Do you want them to do something like wildly different going into Game 4, or do you just want to see them, run what they're doing but just do it better?
I don't think they're built to do something wildly different, right? Like we want to be able to suggest a bunch of things from a problem-solving standpoint and say, okay, like if you make this adjustment or whatever, like the one change I would like to see, particularly your back's against the wall, I want to see more Jalen Tyson. I want to see him out there because I think he is part of this team's future. Like let's play the guys that have been their best performers for the season and are going to be part of the future. Get Jalen Tyson playoff minutes, right? I think that's really, really important here. But other than that, like I think it comes down to just like you have to play better because this is the way you're designed to play. You don't have the optionality to completely change up what you're doing from an offensive or defensive standpoint. And like it probably would be good enough in some of these games if they just had the shot making. And that's not me sitting here like Daryl Morey a couple of years ago, right? Of, oh, we got the shots, but we just had to make them, blah, blah, blah. It's just bad luck. Like, I don't think it's that. I think you have to question, the shot making talent. You have to question, okay, why are we in this position, right? I think the Cavs not taking care of business in previous rounds and having less legs as a result of it, big part of the equation. But at the same time, it's not like this team is one that is run down in the regular season either, right?
I don't generally subscribe to that. And I saw some really smart people folks like Danny saying like, "Oh, it looks like they're just completely out of gas," and I'm like, the shot making hasn't been there ever. like I
It's
didn't.
been
It's
bad,
not
yeah.
like they shot the cover off the ball against Toronto when we've seen a slow degradation of their open 3-point shooting. I don't think it's been there at all. Like you
It's
could point to some of their, and then you could say, oh well, they're pretty flat-footed and heavy on defense, and getting back cut and stuff. I'm like, Toronto was back cutting them. So like I don't know if I subscribe to the worn down theory. I don't think it helps, but I don't think that, like, if they let's say they had beaten Toronto in 5, they'd beaten Detroit in 6, like, is that really the difference in this series? I don't know if it is. I think they just need to play better.
They were 15th in 3-point percentage after the All-Star break, right? Like this isn't last year's Cavs team where they were the number 2 team in terms of shooting percentage and the best offense in the league. Like, this is a different roster. This is a different configuration. I think we just all assumed that the shooting was going to come at some point, but the reality is it hasn't been there. And this is certainly worse than it was. And I think you can say, hey, not taking care of business is part of it, but I also think some of it is probably how much that they're targeted, right? We used to talk about when the Cavs would play the Celtics, DG's holding up defensively against Tatum, but when you're getting targeted possession after possession, where you're kind
Wears
of
you
being
down.
singled in on isolation, you're going to get worn down. And I think the same thing has been true for James, right? And I still firmly believe the Cavs don't make it out of the first round this year with Darius on 9 toes versus what Harden was able to bring. And I think particularly with this switching defense, like, there's no way DG would have been able to hold up on switching on to Scotty Barnes the way that Harden did, right? Like, that would have been an absolute nightmare. But we also haven't seen someone targeted like in a more conventional series now versus the Knicks. We've never really seen a Cavs player targeted to the same extent where you look at the
With this
tracking data.
same degree of success, maybe is the
Yeah. Well, yeah, to the same degree of success, because like you look at the tracking data, Brunson is 13 of 22 against Harden. Bridges is 8 of 9. Cat is 6 of 8. Right? Like we have seen, and some of this is Harden is forced to be the primary point of attack defender in a lot of these situations when Wade isn't on the floor, because we're putting Wade onto Brunson, but you're putting Don in the corner, and James has to guard the primary ball handler. So just like I thought it was unfair when people would always say, oh, DG's being targeted. It's not really targeted when you are the primary point of attack defender, right? Like, you are being volunteered into that situation. So I think some of that is unfair for Harden. But the rate of success is just something that we haven't seen before, because you look at like Darius, who was that primary point of attack defender the last few years, the most guarded cover that he had in the playoffs, or the most field goal attempts. Nemhard was 2 of 5 last year. That was who he defended the most. The year prior, it was Derek White. He was 11 of 31 against DG. And the year prior was RJ Barrett, who was 5 of 21, right? So we haven't seen kind of this relentless targeting and the net out results. And I do think some of it is unfair, but because it's shot making and Harden's actually in position to contest
Yeah, I mean,
these
Brunson
shots.
hit like 4 on him last night, but I was like,
Right.
well, I don't know what you're supposed to do, brother.
Right, exactly. So it's something that we haven't seen before, but it's definitely part of the story. I think it's the most fair way to put it.
Yeah, well, I just think, I think a lot of it's the activity level stuff and like the scheme challenges, like, because like I think if you're, and I don't know, I don't want to move too far into full eulogy mode and full like off season breakdown mode, but like it's a weird spot where it's like Donna and James have to be able to hold up in isolation if you are going to play a switch heavy style.
Yeah.
And if you don't play a switch heavy style, then they have to be really, really good navigating screens and hard hedging and recovering and putting in a lot of effort there. And like, especially in James's case, that's never really been. I mean, he's generally much better in isolation than as a screen navigator. So like, I don't know what a clean answer is, because like I don't. There's been a lot of folks have been hard on the coaching staff in this series, and like there have been things like the timeouts in the fourth in game 1. I probably would have called a couple timeouts, and the shot quality conversations I know are hard as fans, even though we just had one, so it's not like we're not doing it too. But like again, I just don't really see the easy fixes here. Like you can say stop giving up easy switches. Well, you haven't practiced it all year with a guy being hunted that has really never shown the ability to do that kind of defense. And
Yeah.
then offensively, it's like, yeah, like there's a lot of people screaming about more Jalen Tyson minutes. And I would like to see more Jalen Tyson minutes. But the
He
reality
hasn't
is
been good.
he's like even in this game where everyone's like, oh, he was much better because he made a really nice pass to Jarrett and obviously had an amazing and one over Mitchell Robinson. But he also fumbled like 3 passes.
Yeah.
And like, he didn't play a perfect game by any means. And like, I just like, you look at their top 6 lineups from this game, I want to say, in terms of minutes played, all of them were negative.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you think that this is a one sub or one rotation change away, like, oh, if they just took Dennis out, we'd be fine. I just don't think that's true.
No.
I think there are more holistic problems that are affecting this team right now, and it is not the difference between swapping your 7th man for your 9th man in the rotation and saying, oh, now we're good.
Yeah, it gets back to there isn't a big stylistic change that can be made because this team is built to be playing this way, right? And the guards need to make their shots. The wings need to make their shots. They need to pass to their team, not the other team. They need to take better care of the basketball. And all of that becomes more difficult when you aren't hitting your shots. And I think the reality is this is a team that is made to generate and convert open threes, right? Like that is the thesis of this. We're going to run pick and roll with the bigs. We're going to spray out the shooters and we're going to hit those shots. If the shot making isn't there, this offensive ecosystem doesn't work.
And if the stars don't hit the hard shots that they generate, then it's really over.
Right. And I feel almost bad going to the hard ones when you're not hitting the easy ones, right? Like it's you've got to be able to go out there and convert. And it's not going to work if you're not. And the Knicks have been the better shot making team. They've been the better team in basically all facets of the game. This isn't like the last couple of years where, I think even in that Pacers series, even with the injuries, there was a lot of things that you could look at and say, okay, if they just kept their composure, they could have won this game and maybe even could have won the series. I still think they would have won if they were healthy. I'm not feeling that way versus the Knicks. I'm not feeling that way.
We're healthy, and it's
we're as healthy as you can
0-3.
expect to be.
Yeah.
We're as healthy as you can expect to be, right? Like obviously Don's not 100%, but we've also seen
OG has a hamstring strain and other things like that.
100%.
They're just getting beat right now. And like, and to your point about the build, they don't have like a battering ram style offensive player that's like, screw it. They don't have an Embiid or a Giannis or, a guy who just like can be like, the defense is in a shell and I'm going to destroy it anyway and just force 2 on the ball merely by existing. Like they have to earn their way into those 2 on the ball spots or hit their open shots, and they're 0-for on those 2 things right now. And that's a good recipe to be down 0-3 in a series that I just thought we had a much better chance of competing in than we're showing so far.
And that reminds me, the guards also just aren't creating advantages in isolation, right?
Nope.
Like Landry Shamet is staying in front of.
Yeah, I
these
talked
guys,
about
right?
that while you were gone.
Okay.
I talked about like, hey, if you can say, hey, Shamet's been a really good point of attack defender this year, Knicks fans, that's nice, but like Donovan and James have to be able to cook that. Because Brunson is cooking okay defenders or above average defenders and getting buckets that look like layups to him. Even when they're well contested, he's getting right to the spot he was hoping to go to, coming up on balance with good arc rotation on the shot, and he is lacing them. We're just not getting that. And unless we do, we're not going to compete in these kinds of series when you've made it to the final 4 teams of the NBA.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, these games are coming fast and furious, so we'll see how the Cavs respond in Game 4. Big thanks to everyone tuning in this morning on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. Click that notification bell so you know when we're going live. If you're listening via podcast and you want to support us, leave us a rating, leave a review, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, and help cook those books. If you want to be part of Chase Down's exclusive Discord chat, send a screenshot of their review to chasedownpod@gmail.com. However you choose to support us, we really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys are staying safe out there. Until next time, go Cavs.